Stone Creek Ranch. Now, normally when people think about Florida's billionaires, it's like, oh, that by default they must live on the beach because that's where all the money goes. But you and I both know that if you want more property, generally you got to go a little farther west.
What's interesting is exactly what you just said, like how this random massive, not massive community, but massive 186 or 87 acre community just out of nowhere is now all of a sudden this billionaire bunker, as they call it, right? It's attracted a lot of wealthy people over the years, but more low-key money. Now we have more stars and it's getting more publicity for that reason. And to your point, we've worked with a number of high net worth individuals that have major security and privacy concerns. And being on the water is one of the big things their security advisors recommended against.
It sounds like not just the fact that Mark Wahlberg has moved in there, but that just seems to be a domino that has brought in all these other notable celebrities to that area. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be money there, but now it's like, oh, the former Rockstar CEO, Russ Weiner, has moved in there.
And he's bought 2 properties in there.
Right. And my God, 2. It's like, I can't work with one. Are you kidding?
And we'll throw up on the screen some of these, images here of, we can start with just proximity and location on Google Maps. But you can see it on the screen right here. So it's on this massive, massive lake right there. Mm-hmm. And so most of the homes have that waterfront exposure. Not most of them, all of them, as you can see. And it's one way in, one way out, baby, right? What's super interesting about this story starts in like the early 2000s, right? It says in the early 2000s, Stone Creek Ranch site was remote farmland, basically, right? And,
which is most of western Palm Beach County in general, at least traditionally.
They were growing bell peppers there. Dirt roads, bell peppers for sale, right? A little farm stand probably. And and so this guy, this developer, Ken Mendelsohn, founder of Kenco Communities, bought the land with unconventional vision, right? He didn't want to put a golf course or a clubhouse or any of that nonsense. He just wanted to make this the ultra exclusive, super privacy focused community. And he started that process, right? And so massive acre lots, just again, fully gated, no public traffic, right? But then 2008 hit, 2009. And so everything kind of collapsed. It says the builder who turned it up to 11, right? So this guy, Aldo Stark, he let's see, what did he do here? I guess he's the guy behind some of the most over-the-top estates in the community, right? The mansion that Mark Wahlberg bought. We can throw some pictures on the screen there. The Cafaro family. I think you and I were talking about that, right?
Yes.
Recently. Oh, the James Bond-inspired mansion. Yeah, so we can roll that.
Right, I believe that's Mark Wahlberg's place. And what cracks me up with any nice estate like this, how it gets its own name. You know what I mean? Like Palazzo di Lago. And some of the others, like that's when you know you have a nice one. So like, we got to give it its own name. I mean, I call this one Excalibur.
Well, there's a James Bond mansion. There's a Lamborghini mansion over there or something, right? We've seen. I forget which one that is. I think that was one of the bigger sales, maybe the $55 million. I think that might have been the Cafaro family, right? Yeah, that's right. You and I have been talking about this a little bit, but James Bond mansion, $36.8 million. What I've seen, to your point, recently is the $5 million spec builds. They've started naming those to play this.
Right, that's what I say. That's kind of fake it till you make it in a manner of sweet
100%.
Right.
Palm Beach County developer breaks ground on $54 million senior housing project. So what happens when a developer buys land for a warehouse? It's kind of interesting, and ends up building one of Palm Beach County's most important senior housing projects instead. So this is a story about a developer who's recently or previously bought land cheap to build warehouses, and now they're pivoting. They're pivoting to build apartments, or I'm sorry, senior housing complex. The next one's apartments. So construction has started at the Waterview Apartments in Magnolia, or How do you say that?
Oh, in Mangonia Park.
Mangonia Park, right? A multifamily rental development for low-income seniors and disabled in West Palm Beach. Developers Sun Foundation Inc. and Rich Global are proceeding with a $54 million community that would feature a 60-story building with 140 residences. This is kind of a big deal here because there's not a lot of affordable projects like this. And this is the big problem, right? So Palm Beach County senior population is growing.
Right.
The AMI now is 111,000. And older residents living on fixed income. They're not making 111 grand.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy that they can't afford to move into some of these places.
Yeah.
And we see this all the time in our day-to-day job where we're meeting with the elderly who are getting ready to sell their home or need help selling their home. And it's tough. It's a tough decision because a lot of times they're planning to move and we're helping them and we're just like, I don't know. It's the best decision to get out of something they can't handle, obviously, right? Like a home that they can't maintain as an example, but the next thing they're going to isn't a perfect solution either because we could just see the writing on the wall. Like how are they going to live the next however many years of their life? The strategy here is 56 units would be reserved for households earning below 30% AMI. The remaining 84 units would be for those earning below 80% AMI. So all of this is pretty good. So a one-person household can earn no more than $60,000 per year to qualify. So
a New York life insurance company just sold its Boca Raton campus. This was for $23.75 million. And by July 2026, the office building they're still working in is scheduled to be demolished and replaced with apartments and small bay warehouses. Okay. This is Mutual of America Life Insurance. They had scrapped its approved plan for a new 150,000 square foot HQ tower in Boca Raton. They kept the multifamily entitlement and flipped the 11.7 acre site for $23.75 million. They know how to do business.
yeah,
Instead of building a brand new headquarters on this site, Mutual sold the property to a partnership led by Ram Real Estate and Butters Construction and Development, with Altman, part of a BBX Capital Corp. Boy, we got a lot of people in on this. The plan now is to demolish the existing office building by July of 2026, as mentioned, and they'll replace it with a 287-unit apartment complex. Also a 63,000 square foot small bay warehouse office space. So we are doing a lot with this area.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see Mutual of America kind of like pull the plug on relocating here. So they must have gone somewhere else. I don't know what those details look like. So
for those interested, the location is at 1150 Northwest Broken Sound Parkway in Boca, if we can take a look at that.
Yeah, so this location is where we've seen other projects pop up over the years, right? So this has had some success on the multifamily front, not only on the light industrial front, because that's what they're planning, right? They're planning partial warehouse or light industrial products, right? Mm-hmm. Which is interesting, but makes sense for that location. If you look at the location, we could talk to it a little bit. That area is pretty popular for light industrial. So, and that's why I think a lot of the time what we're seeing here is developers just not having a lot of pushback around building these multifamilies out there.
Right.
There's good demand for the multifamilies out there, and yet there's yet there's not a lot of pushback from a traffic perspective because it's kind of tucked into this like more of an industrial area or office space area. So there's not a whole bunch of residential where everybody's kind of complaining, "Oh, you're building in my backyard," right?
Oh, yeah.
My single family home next to the project is being hurt because of it. Fort Lauderdale considers $10 million loan to build 400 plus apartments. This is kind of interesting. $10 million loan for some developer to build 400 plus apartments. And by the way, this loan is
forgivable. That was the part that caught my eye.
That was the big thing. So a single city block in Fort Lauderdale just landed a $10 million forgivable loan for an 8-story, 422 apartment project. The deal ties together public money, a church relocation, mixed income housing, and a key site in the Progressive Village west of Flagler Village, which is a hot little poppin' new spot in downtown Fort Lauderdale. We'll show you the location so you can kind of get a sense of what that looks like on the screen there. So, so we zoom out a little bit. You can see this is pretty close to downtown, right? Not too far off, just north, tucked in there. We've talked about a number of other projects right along that pathway. A lot of these development projects recently have kind of popped up in this sector, and it's gonna transform that area.
Mm.
And if we talk value, this might be or investing, it might be prudent to try to find something in that general area. As we know, Victoria Park to the east there is an interesting redeveloping neighborhood where they're putting up spec homes, and obviously as you move further east, you have 7 Isles and the surrounding the Las Olas Isles, etc. right there. But this is kind of cool. So these guys, they've wheeled and dealed, right, to get this where it's at. They plan to build a mixed income rental building with 422 units, ground floor retail, and structured parking, which is supported by a $10 million forgivable loan from Fort Lauderdale's Community Redevelopment Agency, the CRA. The agreement includes 114 affordable units in perpetuity, which is kind of interesting. So these affordable requirements don't burn off after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. This is forever. A 0.77 acre land donation to the CRA and the redevelopment agency of the former church is included in this. So this is kind of interesting, right? They're doing so. The site formerly held a duplex, triplex, quadplex, and the first Ebenezer Missionary Christian Church, spread across multiple lots. So the developers have assembled those parcels into 2.48 acres at Progressive Village, which is, again, where we just showed west of Flagler. They've done this before, these guys. They've relocated churches. They've done all these things. They just make it happen. And so how the site came together between August 2022 and April 2024, the developer acquired 5 adjacent parcels for about $9.6 million. I mean, you got to be a real player to kind of be putting these things together like this and working these angles, because you're putting real money out there and trying to put things together. You're putting contracts together on contingency, kind of interesting deal. So you're working with the city to kind of work out the CRA deal. You're working with the church. Income targets referenced include households earning up to 80% and 100% of area median income, right? AMI. Yeah. With Broward County's median household income reported around 89% by HUD, or 89,000 by HUD. So, it's not like these are like super cheap rentals. They're still somewhat, they're not cheap. Because like South Florida rents just aren't cheap. So even cheap relative in South Florida is still pretty expensive, right? Yeah. Land donation and CRA controlled parcels. This is kind of interesting. The incentive agreement also includes the land component. The developer assembled 5 mostly vacant parcels, 0.77 acres between Northwest 8th Ave and Northwest 7th for roughly $1.6 million. Under the CRA deal, the parcels are to be donated to the CRA for future redevelopment at the agency's discretion. So, they're getting this $10 million loan. They may one day renege on that deal to like keep 114 affordable units in there. I'm speaking for them, but maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. It seems like that might be the move here for these guys long term. But they're also donating this land to these guys. So there's a little bit of a buffer there for them.
If you're into trashy reality shows, but it was only a matter of time before one would find its way to Palm Beach. And thanks to Netflix, that is finally happening. A new Netflix show exploring the lavish world of Palm Beach's socialites.
This isn't trashy, John. This is luxury.
I find it ironic in a way that I, turned my nose up at it, and yet I did one of these shows. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's just some sort of insecurity coming out. But anywho, picture a place where your zip code, your club membership, and your guest list are worth more than most people's net worth. I guess that's one way of putting it. The place is Palm Beach. Netflix has decided to put it under a microscope. So this is on December 29th. Netflix will release Members Only Palm Beach, which is an 8-episode series set across Palm Beach and the surrounding enclaves in Palm Beach County. The show follows 5 women whose lives intersect with some of the most exclusive clubs, mansions, and social circles in Florida. Well, it is interesting to see something other than Miami, because don't they have one of the housewife shows, I think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So now we're in Palm Beach.
Right. So now we're in. Here we are, Palm Beach, finally getting in on the action. I just wonder if, one of these guys, multi-billionaires, CEOs, trophy wife, wanted a TV show, so they gave it to him. Like, that's what I'm more interested in knowing, like, who bankrolled it, who's producing it.
Yeah, totally.
How that all came together. I'm more interested in that than the actual show at all.
They got an 8-episode shot, right?
Well, I'm looking at some of the notes on this. So we have bringing in surprise faces like TikTok's Sue Bell Robbins. I have no idea.
I don't know who any of these people are. Do you know any of these people?
She is the golden girl of viral Florida content to give the audience a familiar entry point into this otherwise closed universe. Well, thanks. That's great. I feel like
for her.
I know. I feel warm and fuzzy already.
Hillary Musser, a self-described
you're reading these. Yeah,
I don't know, developer, living with her 5th husband. They reported $40 million West Palm mansion. 5th husband. All right. Rosalind Yellen, former Zumba instructor turned philanthropist, focused on veterans. After raising 4 kids, she moved to Palm Beach with a specific mission, not just to live there, but to matter there.
Let me tell you something. There is no bigger red flag to me than when somebody feels obligated to put self-made on their description.
I know.
Like it just screams like the insecurity, the pretentiousness, everything about it. When you put self-made on there, it's kind of like, oh wow,
self-made.
You're
5th husband.
You're very important. It's kind of overdue. I mean, the more you keep thinking about it,
Yeah, totally. And you got real big. I mean, you got some of the biggest in the world players here with real money. So
right, that you don't. Yeah. Right, that unless you're really into the high social scene, you don't know.
Yeah, well, West Palm Beach and Palm Beach specifically landed on the cities in the cities of the top fastest growing wealth hubs worldwide, beating out leading contenders that include Dubai and San Francisco's Silicon Valley. Yep. I mean, hey, this is what's happening. West Palm Beach leads the nation in luxury home price growth. We were just talking about how many homes sold in the ultra luxury sector. This is similar, right? So in 2015, a typical luxury home in West Palm Beach sold for about $1.4 million. Today, that same tier of home sits around $4 million, giving West Palm Beach the fastest luxury price growth of any major metro in the United States. This is a big deal. We've seen this play out, and we feel it, right? We definitely feel it in this market. So West Palm Beach has become the #1 U.S. metro for luxury home price growth over the past decade. And what that means for buyers, sellers, and investors, with prices jumping 187.3% to a median of just over 4 million.
Yeah, look at that. Out of Nashville, Phoenix, Vegas, Miami.
Ideal.
And I ask you this because you've been doing this for a while in this market. This stat didn't surprise you at all, did it? In terms of growing more or faster than anybody else.
What I frequently encounter, I just had a meeting with someone today, actually, selling their business in another state, relocating to South Florida, hits me up. Hey, we're going to spend 2.5, right? Yeah. And it's like, awesome. And their expectation of what 2.5 is versus what 2.5 delivers in Palm Beach or just in general in South Florida is not
unless they go west, unless they go a little more west, maybe.
Totally. So you can work some stuff out, but they're thinking brand new condo on the beach, and like Pompano Beach almost doesn't have that either, right? I mean, at 2.5, we found some stuff at 2.75,
really
brand new in Pompano Beach. But if you like pull that up and you start kind of looking for like townhome in Palm Beach County, east of, call it Federal Highway, 2,500 square feet or more and new, right? Like you're not finding that. You're not finding a townhome like that. That's like a used townhome.
What a dump. Who would live here?
A used townhome. People ask me frequently, like, "Hey, when is the best time to sell my property?" Right?
I mean,
And the answer is usually, well, whenever the best time it is, whenever's the best time for the seller, because the reality is there's so many buyers doing so many different things in South Florida that the demand profile changes a little bit, but really it's just different buyers moving in and out of the market at different times, right? You may have people moving for family reasons and school. You may have people moving for tax reasons at any given time to get down before the half of the year is over, so they can spend 7 months in Florida and do that.
We discussed Pompano Beach a little bit, but here we are with them again as the Housing Authority seeks rezoning for a 96-unit affordable housing development. There's an 8.6-acre patch of grass in Pompano Beach that could decide who actually gets to live here in the next decade. That's a little dramatic. It's just a rezoning request called, quote-unquote, Adderley Cove. Now, I love how on our notes here, it's in bright red. Do not get Adderley Cove confused with the project called the Adderley. So if you were,
now you know. Don't do that. Don't do that.
In the Liberty Park neighborhood at the east side of Northwest 6th Ave and Northwest 16th Court, as mentioned, you got an 8.6-acre vacant site with duplex residential zoning on it. So the Housing Authority wants that same land to become Adderley Cove, a planned community with 96 homes reserved for residents earning up to 80% of the area's median income. A low-rise neighborhood-scale layout that blends with nearby homes.
It's a little different from other parts of the country. Everybody has to remember a lot of what we do down here has like these crazy rigid wind restrictions or requirements that these buildings need to meet, which means they have to be set up properly and they have to use materials that are typically more expensive than just build something out of wood in, the Carolinas or
yeah. I mean, basically, I feel like anywhere else in the U.S. I mean, this is the first place I ever lived, I've noticed it.
Yeah.